Good afternoon. It's Bob Chu and Stuart and Isla Boat Works with another latest launch. Unfortunately, we're doing this in the parking lot because it's coming up to Christmas and we have 6 boats we need to deliver in a very tight time frame. So excuse that. We hope to come back to do this boat on the water. It will be locally here in Stuart. In the meanwhile, yeah, beautiful carbon Innegra 27 Stuart. This customer has bought some other boats from us previously, and we'll also be building him a skiff. So he's a happy repeat customer. As we get along here in the boat, you'll see the twin 300s and power poles and unique seating, hardtop configuration, just everything that makes you go, wow, another beautiful 27 Stuart. So thanks for watching. Come on aboard. Let's take a look at this baby. So we're mixing this up. We normally start at the bow, come to the stern. We're going to go the other way. This is all pretty obvious stuff at this point. A pair of 300 white integrated steering Yamahas. A pair of 8-foot power pole blades. That's not too common on our boats. This customer had a 23 Stuart prior to this with 1 power pole blade. So we've got 2 on here. A little shotgun rod holder for that, that tuna lure all the way back. If you notice, the upholstery is this two-tone, which is beautiful, with this whole color scheme of gray and white, and the diamond stitching as well just really sets it off, makes it pop. The stuff that you've seen on other boats, the freshwater washdown, the reverso flush out system for the motors, saltwater washdown, in addition to which he did have us add 2 more rod holders here in addition to the 2 that the backrest slides into, as well as that shotgun rod holder. So yeah, he's got just across the stern there's 5, and then the 4 standard ones further forward. This boat also is rare in that he opted for additional fuel. So normally this compartment after the live well is another storage compartment, can be a live well in the cockpit sole, but here he opted for an additional 45 gallons of fuel. So now that hatch becomes permanently, well, it becomes silicone down in place, removable if need to get access to the fuel tank. But works real nice, and of course he increases his range for primarily Bahamas trips, where he wants to go over there and not have to really worry about fuel like as a constant thing on his mind. So yeah, extra fuel, why not? Leaning post live well that we're familiar with, but with a little bit different twist, which is a wraparound backrest. So it's still fixed, of course, with the same arrangement, rod holders, cup holders, but with that little wraparound, which just gives you a little lock-in comfort for rougher days if you're sitting up there running. Faux-teak the top of the live well, which we've done once before, and it, sure enough, it's catching on. So it's a really nice, clean look to it. I'll have to look in the cockpit sole to see if he has fish box or storage or one of each. It is one of each now, I remember looking in the bilge. So yeah, 1 fish box, typically on the starboard side with the saltwater washdown, and 1 standard storage compartment on the starboard side with sea deck in the bottom of it. 4 rods for hanging 4 rods, and then space below. Great deal of space for additional rods below that. And yes, long enough to hold a fly rod. So pretty much the stern of the boat. He does have an additional 10-inch sub hiding below this stern seat, which is not necessarily the norm. So he has 4 8/8 speakers and 2 10-inch subs, which is pretty cool. Get a great sound system. Then into the bilge. As is normal, we lift that stern seat a little bit and get right into the bilge. I mean, this bilge is so clean and big boat-like. I talk about it all the time, but every now and then I get my way on board a boat, another manufacturer, and I try and get into the bilge, and it's comical. I'm sure if you've looked at boats in this size range, or even down to our 23, very few people have this immediate access that we have. And as I've said in other videos, I literally can touch virtually everything in the bilge here without any effort. Fuel filter, starboard motor, port motor, diaphragm pump to pump the forward fish box out, and the starboard fish box with a Y valve to select it. I got my hand on the Y valve right here. The seacock opening for saltwater washdown, or I'm sorry, that's for a little secret I'm going to tell you in a minute. Seacock opening here for the live well pump and feeds off also to the saltwater washdown. And then again, right here on the forward bulkhead, we have a inline filter that's also for this little secret I'm going to show you. I can see the bilge pumps, not as easy to touch, but they're there with the digital float switches. The reverso pump, I can reach right down and touch that, although there's a switch up under the gunnel to turn that flushing pump on. Yeah, and I mean, it's literally all right here. I don't think you could ask for a better bilge on a boat of this size. So moving to the helm, back to the leaning post live well, the wraparound seat, storage below here that you're familiar with, tackle trays on the side, small, good for swivels and hooks and things that of a smaller size. Same on the other side, and then 2 individual folding footrests, so you can run the boat. Your partner can have their footrest up or down and not annoy you. Typical great access, to the inside of the console. Superior wiring. And I say this a million times, and this door, of course, lifts out, but I say this all the time. I said there might be other boat builders that are wiring their boat as well as us. I don't think anybody's doing it better. I put captains in here and very particular boat owners. They look in there and go, oh, wow, nice. Everything's labeled, everything's easy to get to. There's no spaghetti down there whatsoever. So, yeah, it's a great technical aspect of the boat. Running up to the helm. 3-sided enclosure, which is, to use a big word my friend likes, ubiquitous. On our boats, virtually every one of our boats has that as an option. Vent at the top. This boat has what amounts to a fiddle, but actually it's the track for the cover that comes to cover the helm. Dual 16-inch Garmins. JL audio head. External speaker for the VHF. Yamaha CL5 gauge. Yamaha autopilot. Power start and stop switch. And then a couple newer things here I'll explain to you in a second. So here we have the C-Zone digital switch panel. And you're all pretty much familiar with that, I'm sure. I've talked about C-Zone many times. It's digital wiring instead of analog and the advantages of that. Right above that, we did something that this customer requested, was digital voltmeters for his 3 batteries. I mean, it's the information is available in the Garmin, but it's great that it's right here when you throw the battery switch, it's staring at you in the face. So it's kind of cool. We've not done that before. The Fotique helm pod that we're all really familiar with, it's kind of ubiquitous again. There goes that word. The Edson Carbon Elite wheel. He had one on his previous boat. He loves it. It's gorgeous. And yeah, it's carbon, like the boat's carbon. So in this area here, what we've outfitted this boat at his request was with not only the Yamaha autopilot switch panel, but also what they call full maneuverability, which is their joystick, which has several modes of operation. You can drift it, you can fish point it, you can stay point it, all these different characteristics make fishing a lot easier, especially in a current and so forth. Then these are two things you don't typically see on our boats. One is a man overboard system, because this gentleman will fish fairly often by himself, sometimes with his wife, but often by himself. So this will be something that will set off an alarm and cut off the motors if he were to fall overboard with the little switch that he'll be wearing. That's a Fells Marine, I believe, is the brand. And then Lenco Auto Glide system. So instead of just trim tabs, this is actually a system where you can balance the boat side to side, front to back, based on the speed that you're running the boat. We don't do a lot of them. This may be the third one we've ever done, but he wanted it, so he's got it. It is important to point out that, yeah, you can just hit auto and then you're back to operating it like normal trim tab function. So it's your choice depending on the conditions, all the variables. So I think, all in all, I mean, just another beautiful Stuart helm. So here we go, the big reveal. This 27 Stuart has a Seakeeper inside the console. That's a Seakeeper 1, 12-volt version. It is the second or third of the Seakeeper 1 that we've done. I just sold another one yesterday, so it seems to be becoming a trend. When we do the Seakeeper, we typically would go, which we have here, with a lithium battery to charge it, separate from the 3 AGM batteries that operate the rest of the boat. Also, we put a two-piece clear acrylic lid over it so that you still have a flush surface in there to put buckets and, you know, anything, you know, duffel bags and suitcases you run into the Bahamas, whatever. So you haven't lost that storage, and yet you have complete serviceability for the Seakeeper on the rare instance that you'll need to. So there you go. I mean, it's pretty cool. He also had us, like on his previous boat, do some storage holders for the removable forward-facing backrests. So when he's fishing or just doesn't have enough people or doesn't want them up on the deck here, yeah, it's right here in its own given storage place. Really cool. I mean, great ideas, really clean. And that's the super secret. In the bilge was the filter for this system, as well as the intake seacock to cool the Seakeeper. So on the front of the hardtop here, you can see the Garmin dome radar. This is their latest digital one that's instant on. It also has the feature to be able to tell you if boats are coming towards you in a red color on the screen. If they're going away, they're in green. It's the latest and the greatest. It's worked out very well for a lot of our customers. As you work down, this is relatively new. We've done one of these before. This is a Psionics, a new entry into the night vision camera world. And gosh, I don't know how many I've already sold since the first one that we showed. So it's very cool, works great, low power, great visibility, low light visibility function. So people, the first people have, had very positive things to say about it. Working down then, the helm, which is typical, which you've seen, and, the cooler forward. If you will notice one thing besides the custom upholstery is that every hatch he requested gas shocks. So that's not our norm. We're kind of in that regard a less is more company in terms of hardware. But certainly if you want it, and we know it in advance, so we put the correct reinforcements in the boat to hold that gas shock, then yeah, it's available as an option all the way around the boat. In the floor, of course, everybody's seen this massive fish box, insulated, diaphragm pump. It's standard. Yeah, I could get in there, and another one of me could get in there and then close the lid. That's how big it is. If you're running to the corner for tuna, you got it right here in a 27-foot boat. seats, the storage runs all the way around. The backrests, which are not in, as you saw, they were in the console. They're easily removable. All this diamond stitching just looks wonderful. He does have the second sub up here, as well as the two other 8.8 speakers, combing pads to match here in the seating area, and an anchor locker, which also has the gas shock. And we also have the custom polished stainless steel anchor chock in the tow rail, that low profile custom look that a customer introduced to us. Rod holder, cup holders up forward. So, whew, man, it is one beautiful boat. And keep in mind, it is carbon Innegra. So if you like this boat or anything like it, we'd love to build one for you. Just give us a call at Stuart Boatworks right here in Stuart, Florida, and we'll make your dreams come true. Thanks very much. Have a great Christmas.